Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request from Business of Fear. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, tier lists, rankings, lists, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthroughs, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. So thank you. And this time, he wanted me to give a list of my top 25 favorite fictional characters of all time. Doesn't just have to be movies, but other characters as well. So, top favorite fictional characters. So, some of this is TV, some of this is movies, some of it is comic book, or maybe even cartoons. I had to think about this for a bit, because it's tougher than I thought. I've just, do I leave this character out? Because I'm sure I could have made like a top 50, but top 25 is the way to go. So, number 25, I put Adrian Monk from the TV show Monk. I think Tony Shalhoub does a great job. I love all of his OCD little touches that just makes the character that much more unique. So it makes each episode interesting and funny as to what he in particular has to deal with as an extra narrative of the plot and his own plight, which makes him, in a weird way, a very big underdog in his own mind, where the things that we would never even dander at, we would not care about, he has to make sure this is very clean and this and that, and how people are, get annoyed by him and just frustrated with him, and how at the end even just the way he has to overcome all these little eccentric things in order to solve the case. And he's a guy that people think he's a nobody, and really this is the great Adrian Monk, and yet he's able to pull it off very well. I think Tony Shalhoub does a great job. I think it's a fairly well written show, and I think it's over there, a good chunk of the TV shows on DVD. I never saw the. Let me lower this a bit so it's not too bright. I never saw the. I think there was a revival for a bit, like a movie or something. I never saw that. I do remember a chunk of the TV show and just enjoying what transpired during all that. So I was just thinking of, I'm like, I have to put that on the list because I really thought that was a fun show and interesting character. And number 24, kind of on the same wavelength, Gregory House from House MD, played by Hugh Laurie. Granted, for very different reasons, in terms of he's a guy who's a genius, he's really good at what he does, in this case, finding out these weird cases of medicine and trying to find a way to cure, to fix, that nobody else could figure out. Only he's a very different sort, where he's just so, like, honest and no bullshit, and will just say any despicable thing he can think of. Yeah, he's pretty much the fuck your feelings type of guy. Fuck your feelings. I care about facts. Yeah, before all these people like Ben Shapiro would say that, I don't care about your emotions. Like Gregory House was doing that before. And again, such an interesting character. Hugh Laurie plays him so well that at times it's very hard to like the character, but sometimes you see little shards of his humanity. But he's such an interesting character. He has a cane, there's the pain that he goes through, and just the way the character's written, with the snappy dialogue and the way he trades barbs back and forth with the medical team and other people. Just Gregory House just really hits that note. It made him such an intriguing character, which is why that show lasted for so long. That and how each medical case was just this kind of weird, unique thing. Was just your typical, he had a heart attack, that type of thing. So number 24, I had to put Gregory House on there. I had to think about it for a bit because again, there's so many characters I'm going to leave out. I'm like, man, do I really want to leave that character out? Do I really want to leave that character out? I think this character I put in just because the actor has passed away and I miss the actor and I thought this was his best role. So I put kind of an underdog here. Number 23, I put John Finnegan, Tree Williams from Deep Rising. Because I loved his character so much in that. I loved Tree Williams, the way he played the role, and how a little bit of a smartass he was, and how much of a now what? He gets frustrated, and the sense of humor. Hold up, shh. Like these little tidbits here and there that Tree Williams would bring to the character, and I just think Deep Rising is such a fun film, such a great, underrated character. And honestly, that could also be like Kevin Dillon and Shawnee Smith's characters in the Blah remake, and it was hard to pick. Like there's so many others, but him just because no one knows who that is except me and maybe a few friends of mine, and just to give some respect to Tree Williams, I was really saddened when he passed away, and I think Deep Rising is such an underrated, fun creature feature movie that I wanted to give a bit of a salute to the guy. So I'm like, why not? Why not put him on the list? So there you go. Tree Williams, John Finnegan in Deep Rising. Number 22, I put Elf. Because I love the TV show. I love the little Melmatian creature. I love the design of the puppet. I love the voice that he had and his sarcastic wit and just being a smarmy, smart ass. And he's one of those characters that, while I didn't have NBC because my aunt would send us multiple videotapes of the show, he's one of those characters I grew up with, watching those tapes over and over again. And I'm actually going to put Willie Tanner as well, because I think the dad on there, he was my favorite character on the show, honestly, because I thought he was the funniest. His reactions, the way he would get frustrated at Elf, the way he would just get so discombobulated to what's going on, and his kind of stuttery mannerisms, and sometimes he was just so frustrated it would make me laugh. And I could see his point, and I could relate to Willie Tanner, because I'd be as annoyed by Elf as well. I think they just made such a good team, and that was really my favorite aspect of the show, is the stuff between Elf and the dad, Willie Tanner, and their back and forth, and the way, again, how he would get frustrated. The actor, I know there's been some things about him later in life with drugs and stuff. If he went through those dark paths, I'm sorry that happened to him, that he got into drugs and stuff. I still think he did a really good job on that show. He gave some really a lot of funny moments throughout the show. And again, I think him having to act with a puppet, but that team worked so well together for me. It was a big piece of my childhood. So Alf and Willie Tanner as a team, I'm going to put at number 22. 21, Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is one of those cartoons I grew up with, whether it be Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers or the Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, seeing the other Scooby-Doo cartoons throughout the years, the old show Where Are You, a pup named Scooby-Doo. While I do like the Scooby-Doo character, the character I always enjoyed and loved was Shaggy. I thought Casey Kasem did a great job playing the character, and a lot of times his reactions would get the biggest laughs out of me when I was a kid. It was always cool that he was paired up with Scooby, and I was always root for them and hope that they're safe from the ghosts and all the other creatures. That, of course, would, in the beginning would be someone in a mask. You always remember him with his green shirt and all that. And I thought Casey Kasem did a great job. And even later on, I think Matthew Lillard did a wonderful job portraying that character in the live-action films. And I know he's done some of the cartoon stuff as well. I think Matthew Lillard was a good substitute for Casey Kasem and really honored the spirit of it. What was the one guy? Scott Innes? Was really big on his portrayal. But yeah, Shaggy, I always liked him as a character on that card. And then again, Scooby-Doo is one of my favorite cartoons. In general, the whole... And pretty much every iteration of Scooby-Doo, there was always Shaggy there. I can't think of a Scooby-Doo iteration where there was no Shaggy. I'm trying to think. I know it's storming outside. Was there ever a time? I can't remember if there was a time. I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of one, but definitely worked out the... I'm sure there might have been some, but I just completely forgot about it. But it's great to see them as a team. And Shaggy, though, was always the one I gravitate towards the most. So that was number 21. Number 20, Jason Voorhees. I know he doesn't seem much as a character, but just as a figure of horror, it's an iconic character, just with the look and the vibe and the hockey mask and how that character has come from a drowned boy to tater sat to getting the hockey mask and just the series of films. A lot of them I enjoy, a lot of them I find fun, and just as an imposing figure of horror, it just works, especially when Kane Hodder portrayed him in Part 7 and such. But I think just the look, the hockey mask, the whole look sold it hook, line, and sinker. And I know that may seem shallow as a character, but I mean, when you think of horror, Jason Voorhees just pops up for me. And so I had to put him on the list somehow, some way. Number 19, there's another team, so there's a cheat. The Dude and Walter from Big Lebowski. Because I think Jeff Bridges and John Goodman are such a magical team on there. I think they just do such a great job. And especially Walter, everything John Goodman does in that movie makes me laugh my ass off. Yeah. You enter a world of pain. You know that. You enter a world of pain. Market zero. Market zero. Does no one give a shit about the rules? That ain't nothing, dude. I'd get you a tow. I'd get a tow by 4:30. You ever been to Vietnam? Walter, everything has to be about Vietnam. This is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass. Even the bit at the end where he's got the ashes and he goes in Jeff Bridges' face. Walter, you fucking asshole. I'm sorry, dude. Why is everything fucking thing about you, man? Why is everything about Vietnam? Fuck, Walter. Sorry, dude. Fuck it, let's go bowl. It's such a great team that there's a part of me that I wish I could have seen a sequel with these two guys. Now, granted, the sequel, not nowadays, but I mean, like, 3 years after, you just see where these two guys are. It's just their banter was so good. They had such great chemistry with each other. The dude abides. Just how cool and relaxed the dude was. I fucking hate the Eagles, man. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to a word you were saying. Fucking fascist. Which I've used that phrase when I get pissed and play a video game. Fucking fascist. From the dude. Because the dude abides. The Big Lebowski is one of my favorite comedies of all times. And Walter, I mean, they're so good with each other. So that's number 19. Number 18, Horatio Kane, David Caruso, and CSI Miami. I believe up there I have all of the box sets for the seasons. I have not watched them in a long time, but I loved CSI Miami, and I thought David Caruso just played such a cool badass of a character. I know it became a meme where he, well, this side gets another piece of the pie. Yeah! But he would just, I always liked David Caruso. I liked his vibe. I liked his mannerisms, his style of acting. It always appealed to me, even in films like Session 9. And he had a big part, of course, First Blood. I've seen little bits of NYPD Blue. I've seen the first episode. I know he only lasted like the first season or so. Then he left. But, I liked the film Kiss of Death. I remember liking Jade, which I need to rewatch that because I got the release from Vinegar Syndrome. But, yeah, he was such a cool badass as Horatio Kane. I remember there was an episode where one of the people supposed to be watching for predators and sexual predators. Horatio Kane's realized that guy was he's supposed to be protecting them, but he's using it for his own benefits. So he goes to meet this girl, and there's Horatio Kane. And he's like, you're supposed to be protecting them. By the way, I didn't do anything. I haven't resisted arrest. No, not yet. He puts his glasses down. But let's see how long that lasts. Now, I might have gotten the dialogue wrong, because it's been a while since I've seen it, but I know it's in that vicinity, and just like his eyes are just so intense. Like, he just really just... And he, like, lunges at the guy, and then the episode cuts. I'm like, wow, what a badass. And there are times where he's just shooting and kicking ass, and he just has a cool demeanor, cool voice. I love Horatio Kane on CSI Miami. Just a cool badass. So that's number 18. For the similar reasons, number 17, Dredd. Talk about the Carl Urban in particular, the way that character is. Not taking off the visor, Carl Urban's voice. Just total fucking badass. Number 16, which I know you may be surprised that this is so low. Because as a character, I mean, you don't really know a whole lot about him and the mannerisms. But John Wick. I know you may think, oh, wow, he's so low. Well, yeah, I think these other characters I grew up with for 20-some years. Well, more so before John Wick was even a thing. So that's going to be much more in my memory and nostalgia. And John Wick, he's a total badass. That's why I put him on the list. I love him, just how much of a badass he is. I mean, the character doesn't have a whole lot of mannerisms. His backstory, other than he did something to be able to quit to try lead a life with his lady, and then she died, and then the whole thing with the puppy. That's about as much as you know about the backstory of John Wick. And Keanu Reeves does a good job in the first 3 John Wick films. The 4th one sucks. But really, just the calm way Keanu Reeves plays it, how badass he is, that's really why he's in there. So, number 16. Number 15, I put Chief Brody. Roy Scheider's character from Jaws. Jaws is one of my favorite films ever, and I love the way Roy Scheider... He's the everyman. He's a guy that we can all relate to. He's a guy who... He's still new to the island, and he's trying to do the best that he can, and he's not 100% sure on how to do this job. So he's got the shark expert, and then the shark hunter. And when they go out there, he's kind of the third wheel in a way. Because these are the 2 experts that should know more what to do. He's there to make sure it's done. And he's kind of talking while we're talking. He's asking the questions we want to ask. And we're trying to live in it all through his eyes. And then it comes down to him. And again, he's such a very relatable character with the way Roy Scheider played it. The woman smacked him in the face and blaming him for the death of her son when it's not his fault. The mayor, what a dickhead, wanted to keep the beaches open. They didn't let him do what he wanted. Even when someone says it's not your fault, he goes, yes, it is. He takes the responsibility even though he shouldn't. So you just feel so bad for him, and he just plays a very human character. I love Chief Brody. So, especially in the first Jaws film. So when he has that smile, you son of a bitch, you're like, yeah. so satisfying of an ending. So that's number 15. Number 14, Mulder and Scully. I know it's a cheat because it's a team, but still. The X-Files is my favorite TV show. Not so much the revival stuff, but especially the first 7 seasons. Many of those episodes I quite like or love. And I love the skeptic, the believer, and throughout the show you learn so much about these characters. Mulder's sister, Scully's dad. Just, how they're just depending on each other, and it's such a great, sincere friendship that grows as the series goes on, and how committed Mulder is to the truth, and how Scully can be such a dependable sidekick, not side, but dependable partner for Mulder. And just many moments where they're just hugging and just being friendly, and they didn't have to kiss or make out and shit. Just a simple gesture of a hand or a hug really made them feel even more closer than a sex scene or such would. And that team and the way David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson played off each other just worked so well and made for such a damn good team that really carried those 7 seasons for me. So, doesn't mean I thought every episode was a 10 out of 10, but there's a lot of episodes I do like and enjoy in those seasons. Number 13, Rocky Balboa, What More Can Be Said. Maybe not so much with Creed and Rocky 5, but I love Rocky Balboa. It's such a optimistic, positive character, and again, very likable, very upbeat of a character. And Stallone played him wonderful to a T. So I had to put Rocky Balboa on the list there. Come on now. And come on, lucky number 13. I'm like, 13, lucky number. Why not for a guy that is so optimistic? Number 12, I put Jack Burton, Kurt Russell's character in Big Trouble in Little China. Such a wonderful character because how they make it where you seem like he's the lead, but really he's the sidekick for most of the movie, and he's the guy who is sure of himself like John Wayne, but he's in reality so in over his head as to what the hell's actually going on. And I'm feeling like a little bit of an outsider here. And people like talk above them and talk around him and talk shit about him and make fun of him, and he does the best he can, but he screws up a lot when he charges and he accidentally knocks himself out. But when the time comes, he drops right into the fucker's head. When the time comes, it worked out for the best. But he's just so, Caruso just so funny, such great lines. We really shook the pillars of heaven, didn't we, Wayne? No bullshit. I mean, his whole speech at the beginning when he's driving the truck tells you how great this character is. Just his drawl, that John Wayne type of drawl. It's all in, it's all in the reflexes. Like, I've said this before. Each time Big Trouble in Little China ends, I get sad. It's weird. I rarely do that with movies, but with that one, it's one of those few that I get so fucking sad that it's over because I wanted to see more of these characters. I wanted to see more Jack Burton and Wayne. Not in comic books. I mean, like, a sequel. 1990, 89, like 89, make a sequel, and or 88 or 90. Like, I would love to have seen a sequel in that time period. John Carpenter, Caruso, Big Trouble, I don't know, Little Tokyo, Big Trouble in Little Italy, or whatever the case may be. But it is what it is. But I love Jack Burton and the Pork Chop Express. Number 11, I put The Punisher, just as a comic book character, the history he's had. I love the skull, such an iconic look. His rage and his anger and the backstory of how his family was killed, and the war journals that he writes in. I looked at like when Dolph Lundgren played him or when Thomas Jane played him, and some of the comics I read throughout the years. He could use like flamethrowers, like all the variety of weapons he could use. He's like if John Wick is with finesse, Punisher's like the fucking tank. And there's a part of me that prefers that even more, the brutal tank. But I had to put the Punisher in there. One of my favorite comic book characters of all time. Number 10, Freddy Krueger. I had to put him in the top 10 because the Nightmare on Elm Street films is my favorite horror franchise of all time because of the 8 movies, including the remake, there's only 2 I don't like. The remake and Part 5. All the others I like or love. And Freddy Krueger, that was the horror franchise that was the first horror franchise. Not the first horror film, but the first horror franchise I got into as a kid. Just Halloween films, Friday the 13th films, I didn't see those till later in my teens. But when I was a kid, I would see Elm Street 3, 4, and 5 were on a videotape. So I was seeing 3 and 4, and then skip 5 and go, I don't need to see it again. I'll just rewind the tape. The VHS tape. No, actually, no. Stretch that. It was 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, and 6. So scratch that. Yeah, Elm Street 1, 2, and 3 was on one tape, and 4, because 4, I was glad to have it be start, because I just started up watching, and maybe fast forward to Freddy's Dead if I feel like it, because I don't want to watch Part 5 again. But just the way Robert Englund played it, and how he was like dark and sinister in the early ones, and much more funny and great one-liners. Welcome to Primetime, bitch, and how sweet fresh meat. Or like how entertaining he was in Part 4. Robert Englund really sold that character, the one-liners, the dialogue, the personality, the humor, again, the sinister edges in the first couple one. Is this such a unique, personality-filled villain that, for some, they looked at Darth Vader. I looked at Freddy Krueger that way, as the premier villain. So I had to put him on the list. Number 9 is a cheat because it's 2 Eddie Murphy characters, but I couldn't pick. It was hard for me to pick and choose. Chandler Jarrell from The Golden Child and Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop. Axel Foley, he's had multiple films. The first one, the second one, the fourth one, which I enjoy. But Chandler Jarrell, The Golden Child, is my favorite comedy of all time and my favorite Eddie Murphy film of all time. So I love both characters that much. One has the benefit of having more films. One has the benefit of it being my favorite comedy of all time. So it's hard for me to pick and choose. But just Eddie Murphy exemplifies the everyman quality in those movies. Chandler Jarrell, the finder of Lost Children, I should say. He really is the guy who is just the normal guy in the extraordinary situation, and like every line he says in that movie just makes me laugh my ass off. Whether it be, "This looks like a big joint. You lit it and smoked it. I bet you had two of these, and you smoked one of these before you die here. And you stop smoking strolls. You better hide this before Rastafarian sees you and steals you." Steals it. "Hey, bird, you see a little midget in a tree floating?" The phone's ringing. Maybe that's Rod Serling. "Did someone slip you a Valium or something? You seem, I guess this happens to you every day, but for me, I'm like ready to shit over myself." I want the knife." The domestic din. "I want the knife, please." Love that. That's so fucking hilarious. And all the people bitching about, "Oh, Vinegar Syndrome did the Golden Child." But you're fucking fine with Matt and me and shit. Get the fuck out of here. Please. Get the fuck out of here. Golden Child is 1,000 times better movie than Mac and Cheese Dick. Anyway, Golden Child rocks. Still an incredibly underrated movie, and I love that character Eddie Murphy plays. And then Axel Foley. What more could be said about Axel Foley? I would say the first one I think was the funniest one. The second one is the most action-packed, and the fourth one was a nice surprise. Flawed, but I thought a lot better than the third, and I don't think you don't get another one. So nice to end it on a better note than part 3. So. But Axel Foley, I mean, is a legendary character. What more can be said? Number 8, Mike Harrigan, Danny Glover from Predator 2. Predator 2, I've always said, is one of my favorite films of all time, and Mike Harrigan, I think Danny Glover just is such a badass cop. He cares about his team. He is a guy who's not a he-man. He sweats like the rest of us, and he does the best he can. He has such energy and such fire to his system, and such, some great lines they give him. It's like, "You cut off my dick, you shove it up my ass." Yeah, he's able to be tough and hold his own against the Predator. Going back and forth, cut the Predator's arm off, following him down, even though he's afraid of heights. Having a one-on-one fight with the Predator. That's right, shit happens. Just a badass character that Danny Glover plays. So I put him in number 8. Number 7, Marion Cobretti. I mean, it's Stallone and Cobra. What more can be said? He cuts pizza with fucking scissors. Deal with it. He don't shop at the stores. You just kill the sick motherfuckers who's in there. You're the disease, he's the cure. He has awesome sunglasses, awesome guns, the Jetomatic with the laser sighting. He has an awesome truck. He has cool kick-ass clothes. He rides a motorcycle at the end. The epitome of 80s badassery is Cobra. Got a fucking Cobra on his goddamn gun. How, you have the right to remain silent. Burning motherfuckers, shooting them, stabbing them, hooking them, and burning them to fucking hell. Cobretti's a badass. He's a total fucking badass. Lucky number 7. Number 6, Chance Boudreaux, Jean-Claude Van Damme in Hard Target, my favorite Van Damme film, one of my favorite films of all time. Had to put Van Damme on the list somewhere. Chance Boudreaux. Why you call you Chance? Because my mama took one. His flowing hair, his beautiful tits done in slow-mo with John Woo direction. Then total badass, kicking people off motorcycles, kicking gas cans and blowing them up in sad, stupid motherfuckers' faces. having a badass shotgun, swinging, and in the extended cut, you'll flipping and shooting people and dodging arrows and letting boards on fire hit him, grabbing them, kicking them, breaking them in half, dropping grenades in pants, headbutting motherfuckers, jumping through windows, sliding. Fucking badass. You got a Wilford Brimley as his uncle, Duvet. Cool ass uncle. Who wouldn't want Wilford Brimley as your uncle? Especially a drunk motherfucker that shoots arrows into people's faces. Hell yeah. Chance Boudreaux for the win. Number 6. Number 5, Ellen Ripley. Just for the first 2 Alien films alone. Sigourney Weaver. You want to talk about tough female, but has emotion and still human and vulnerable, especially in Aliens. A mother who couldn't make it back to her kid's birthday 57 years later, realizes she's been dead for however long. Haunted by nightmares, don't go back to face her fears, get over her PTSD, face it head on. But she doesn't belittle men, she doesn't think she's better. She even says, if I go, I wouldn't be much help. Imagine that. Oh, I'm a bit bad. You know. Oh wow, you don't think you're the best. You're not cocky. You're not a bitch. Like some of the piss poor writing they do in some of these female characters nowadays. She's able to prove herself, dependable, driving the vehicle, saving the Marines, running the xenomorph over, being calm and rational, being a natural leader, learning how to use a damn pulse rifle and shooting the shit out of xenomorphs, blowing up eggs, having a one-on-one fight with a fucking queen. Do you wait for her, you bitch. Being a new mother to this kid, Newt. Fucking badass. Ellen Ripley for the win. Had to be in the top 5. Number 4, John McClane. Because Bruce Willis, sorry to hear what's going on with him. I believe last I heard he can't even talk. He can't even remember like a lot of the stuff he did back in the day. But John McClane is a legend. Is a legendary character. Legendary one-liners like yippee-ki-yay. He's a guy that led that action field of the everyman being an action hero, having a sense of humor. Come up to the girls as they get together, have a few laughs. Relatable. Guy who get hurt. And just his wise-ass delivery and wisecracking, and just he's funny, he's dependable, and he's always having a bad fucking day, and we're always hoping that he gets through his bad day. You know, the first 4 Dyer films I love. The 5th one I grew to dislike. It's not the worst sequel ever. I could watch it. Like, okay, Dyer 5 sucks. But I could watch it over Alien 3, Alien Romulus, and Resurrection, and a lot of these sequels nowadays I could watch. But it is a flawed film. But it's John McClane. What more can be said about John motherfucking McClane? Number 3, Ash from Evil Dead. It's Bruce Campbell. Especially when you get to Evil Dead 2. He got a chainsaw for a fucking hand. He got a double barrel shotgun. He says groovy. Then you'll hail to the team, baby. Give me some sugar. Kicking ass. Taking names. Being a wisecrack. Being a wise ass. Attitude. Personality. Fun. I wish he used the chainsaw more in the 3rd movie, Army of Darkness, but I mean, that whole ending Army of Darkness, though, when he gets the rifles, like, Leia, I'm afraid you don't have to leave the store. Who the hell are you? Name's Ash. Housewares. I mean, it's such a fun personality, and I don't like what they did with the Ash vs. Evil Dead show. I really don't. I think Sam Raimi, some of the stuff that we liked about Ash, they don't. I really do feel that way. And it's a shame. But I loved the way he in the even in the it's in particular in Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, he really came to his own as, this personality filled character. That's one of those things, like if you did an animated film like Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, people go bonkers with it. They're too old live action, but in animation, fuck this Predator Killer of Killers shit. Do you have Freddy versus Jason versus Ash? Have them do the voices. Because Robert Englund and Bruce Campbell could do the voices, and because it's animation, you do anything you want with the dream world, and with Ash, you don't have to worry about Bruce Campbell hurting himself. All sorts of crazy stuff you could do with that chainsaw. You don't have to worry about budget in terms of, he's this old, we gotta set this up. I'm sure Bruce he may retire from the character, but I'm sure voicing the character is very different. Because you don't have to get fake blood and all this other shit on you. Just come to the studio and do some business. And of course, the top two, it's by username. Number 2, Rambo. Number 1, Raphael. I mean, John Rambo and Raphael, they're my two favorite characters of all time. That's how I came up with the Rambo Raph. When I first came up with the name, the way I visualized it was, when I was a kid, the first thing I got into, like some people got into Star Wars, Star Trek, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. For me, it was Ninja Turtles. And the cartoon, the live action films, eventually the comic books, all that jazz. And then as a kid, loving action films would be stuff like Rambo. Especially Rambo 2, Rambo 3, to me was like the pinnacle of badass one-man army action films. And Stallone, his voice, his demeanor, I love those two films to death. And of course I love Rambo 4, and I do love First Blood. But Rambo 2 and 3 were definitely the ones I watched the most growing up. And then I would say, if Raphael was born as a human, he would have become like Rambo. They both have that anger and rage, both willing to kill if they need to. Hell, both start with an R and an A. Both have worn red bandanas. Rambo more so at the end of Rambo 2 because of a little piece of Coe's clothing. The girl that got shot and, just say a little bit of a crush on, perhaps. But Raphael, because you're a kid, and so as a kid, what helps your imagination? Talking animals. So you get in the cartoons like Bugs Bunny or Mickey Mouse, because animals are cute, and you got a cat or a dog or whatever, and here's a talking animal, and then on top of that, as a guy who likes action, this is a talking animal, but he can fight and kick ass and take names. And funny enough, in the 80s cartoon, I like Raphael the most just because of his funny dialogue. But then when I learned more about him in the 1990 movie, his mood, how serious he was a tough guy, his accent, and then the comic books and the 2003 cartoon, and he's like, he does seem more like Rambo, which I love Rambo, so now that's an added thing to put onto the different aesthetic of this non-human character. Him being non-human kind of makes it even more intriguing, because now there's so much more turmoil to deal with. You can't just go out to have a fucking picnic, because someone could catch you and try to cut you up and experiment on you and dissect you or your family. And just how much more of a mind fuck that is for a psyche of individuals. So that's even much more to play with. Which I did in fan fiction I would write on my own. I've never released them because honestly they're long gone now. I used to write that stuff. as some would say, thinking too much deeply about cartoon characters and their motivations. But I'm like, well, you know what? I kind of wish Hollywood or someone would do that, because maybe you make some good fucking movies. But Raphael and Rambo, I mean, those are always my two favorite characters. I think I would say if Raphael was human, he would become Rambo, like grow up and join the military and, be that type of guy. So, there you go. But I mean, that was obvious. Raphael and Rambo. I mean, it's in my username. And Raphael, to me, he's a guy I can almost understand. Like, if I was in the same position, okay, I'm in a sewer that's disease infested. I can't go out. You can't meet a girl. You can't get laid. You can't have the white picnic fence. You can't get married. You can't be with someone. You can't enjoy life. You can't just go to the arcade or go to the movie theater. You can't just go, you know, pick up some food. You gotta figure out a way to get food and how to be able to feed you and your brothers. And you're isolated and you can't do anything. You can't have much freedom. And how that would fuck with someone, let alone a little kid, let alone a teenager. And to me, anger just makes the most sense. To be angry about all that just makes the most sense to me. That's why, in a way, the character is more relatable to me. Because who wouldn't be pissed about being in that circumstance? And then of the four, he seemed to be one that could be the most violent and brutal and a brawler. Kick-ass, take names, which, being a fan of action films and films like Rambo and stuff, I'm a sucker for that type of motivation for a character. And then John Rambo, I love the dramatic portion of the first movie where the whole speech at the end of First Blood is a fantastic speech. Who are they to judge me, huh? Unless they bid me or bid there and knew what the hell they were yapping about? About that to fly a gunship, I to drive a Tate, back to your cave and keep a job, parking cars. Just his breakdown is very heartfelt and sad. And then, he's doing the best he can in the second film. He goes in, he accomplishes his mission, he gets fucked over. Murdoch, I'm coming for you. He tries to do the right thing, save the people, save the POWs, comes in, warns them. And, there's more men out there. Find them or I'll find you. He's a man of few words. He doesn't need a lot of words. Because, number one, when he says something, it matters. Don't push, I'll give you war you won't believe. Murder, I'm coming for you. Fuck him. When he says something, your worst nightmare. It sticks. It's important because he says few words, so when he says it, you remember it more. Live for nothing or die for something. Your call. That's why I don't understand when Part 5 they made Rambo into a motor mouth. He talks more in Part 5 alone than he did in the first 4 films combined. And again, just, he does fly a gunship. He does drive a tank. He does ride a horse. Molotov cocktails. Dangerous shit he did in Rambo 3. Holy cow. He's under a tank and being dragged on the ground. He's on a horse with a Molotov cocktail, and there's a helicopter that looks like he's 20 feet away from him and explosions around. Holy shit. The stick fight, and he has that inner rage and turmoil that he needs to calm down. Great stuff, and I love Stallone. I've always been a huge Stallone fan. Always have been. So yeah, number 1, Raphael. Number 2, Rambo. Number 3, Ash. Number 4, John McClane. Number 5, Ellen Ripley. Number 6, Chance Boudreaux. Number 7, Marion Cobretti. Number 8, Mike Harrigan. Number 9, Chandler Jarrow and Axel Foley. Number 10, Freddy Krueger. 11, The Punisher. 12, Jack Burton. 13, Rocky Balboa. 14, Mulder and Scully. 15, Chief Brody. 16, John Wick. 17, Judge Dredd. 18, Horatio Kane. 19, The Dude and Walter. 20, Jason Voorhees. 21, Shaddy. Number 22, Alf and Willie Tanner from the show Alf. 23, John Finnegan, Deep Rising, but I mean that could be, Brian in the Shawnee Smith from the Blah remake. Hell, that could be John Spartan. Like, that's a lot of people that could be switched in and out of there. Number 24, Gregory House, and number 25, Adrian Monk. Kolchak, Kolchak, I love that character. Part of me wants to put him somewhere on this list. You know what? I kind of want to put him now in number 23, Kolchak. Well, the video isn't done yet. You know what? Fuck it. At least I got some nice words to say about John Finnegan, about Tree Williams. But number 23, I'm going to put Kolchak. Because I love Kolchak, the Night Stalker TV show, and the 2 TV movies. I love him as a newspaper man, his sense of humor, dealing with the cops and dealing with other people, trying to get, the information. And he's the precursor to Mulder and Scully. Darren McGavin did a fantastic job. It was always nice to see him. And as a guy who, he showed a sense of bravery going up against all these different kinds of monsters, and he kicked a lot of their asses in a way, only way he could. Pretty badass, and showed a sense of courage. You know what? I gotta put Kolchak in there. So number 23, I don't put Kolchak, the Night Stalker. Gotta put Kolchak in there. So there you go. Number 23, I put Kolchak. Number 24, Gregory House. Number 25, Adrian Monk. So, there you go. That's what, there you go. Yeah, Kolchak I could live with. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.